computer. Okay, we're recording. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to do something that Nancy's been working on actually, and she alerted me to this past week, and it's the move tool. And maybe at the end, Nancy can also tell us what she's used it for. What I'm going to show you today is how to use it if you're making a card, or you can use it for anything if you're wanting to move vinyl pieces a certain place or anything like that. But it's easiest if we play along together and just work on something small like a card so we can practice. So what I'm using for my inspiration was this box here, the 2468 box that May has up here. But believe me, she's not the first person to have done it. I saw many examples of these being done years before this on the internet. But most of them all do it with a scoreboard and just cut it with like an X-Acto knife or something like that. But we're going to do it on our machines today or in our Silhouette software, and it just gives us more practice of using the software. So what she tells us we need down here is what cardstock we need and what sizes and where to score it. And these are she says you'll need the trimmer and the scoring board, but we don't need that kind of stuff. And this is basically what we're going to do right here. So we're going to have cut lines and another cut line and score lines. So to get started, I'll go to Silhouette, and I've actually written out on my card here the sizes that I need so that I'll mimic hers so I can follow along. So if you want to follow along, that'd be great. Open up your Silhouette software, and I gotta get rid of this. How do I get rid of this thing? Hang on one second, you guys. Okay, too many boxes. All right. So here we have the Silhouette software opened up. We're ready to get started. So I have my page set up, which is over here, the top little icon up here if you've forgotten or if you're brand new. And I'm going to click on that, which will open up this page setup panel. And I just want mine set today at Auto Cameo and Cameo and the media size of 12 by 12. The first thing I want you to do is come over here to the very left-hand side to the drawing tools, and you're going to get a rectangle, and you're going to cut this rectangle. I'm just going to draw out a rectangle. Oopsie, click, oopsie. Draw a rectangle, and I'm going to resize it so it's 8.5 by 5.5. So all I need to do is to come up here and come up here to where the width is and change this to 8.5. And as you'll notice, the difference between this and if you're used to using a Cricut, when we open this software, it always comes with the lock unlocked. Cricut always comes in with it locked. So I want it unlocked right now, and I'm going to make the width 8.5 and hit enter. And I'm going to make the height 5.5. Now again, as I said, you can change the sizes of this, do whatever you'd like. But this was made like this originally so that you could get two boxes, this part of the box, out of one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and lighten this by coming up here to the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to make it a light color. You choose any light color you like. So I'll just make mine a pale gray. All right. So that's one of the pieces that we need. Another piece that we'll need is we're going to get one that's the same color as this, and you'll see why that's important eventually. Going to come over here to the rectangle tool again, click on that, and I'm going to come over here and draw a rectangle. And the second rectangle is going to be 1.5 inches by 2 inches. So again, I highlight this, I come up to the width, and I'll make this 1.5 and hit enter, and I'll make it 2 inches high to enter, and I'll make it the same color as this one. So I'm going to come up here, and these are the recently used colors. So there's the color right up there in the upper left hand corner. I'm going to change it to that. Okay, so there's that one. And how many of those do I need? I think I just need one of those. Yes. Okay, that guy's done. Now I'm going to come over here again to the drawing tools and get a rectangle again. And I'm going to draw this one out, and it's going to be, draw it out first, make sure it's highlighted, come up here to the width, and it's going to be 1.6 1.75, hit enter. So 1.75 by 3.25. And hit enter. All right. Now we need 2 of these, but they're going to be white. But I'm just going to make one to begin with, and I'm going to change its color by coming up here, change it to white. And the reason why I'm just going to make one is I'm going to have you look down here for a sec. Okay. There's my notes. So what we're doing is making these little boxes like this. And so why you need 2 of these little white rectangles is it's going to go in this little box like this, and you're going to have one on the back side as well. I think these are really cute. They're really tiny, as you can tell, but I think they'd be cute if you were having a party or something around the dinner table, and each person could get a little treat souvenir box. You could put some treat candies in here, some chocolates or something like that. I'm sure you could think of things to put in these. Here's another one that I made. Whoops, Cinderella, or the fairy godmother stuck to the bottom. This one was still, the stickles were still wet yesterday, and I didn't have time to put a bow in here. But there's another little one. And then this was my first sample that I was making. Let's get those out. So it goes like this. And this is what those little white pieces that right now that we're cutting or making would do. So here's the one with the tree. Okay, and there's the word that I used. All right, thanks, Carmen. Okay, so let's go back up here. So here we are, we've made this one right now. So I don't know if many of you have dingbats. I know at one time, Tammy and I, maybe during one of the classes, we all got dingbats that we were using for one of our classes. But anyway, what you can do is come over here to the text tool on the left-hand side, and then come and click on your mat and just put any old letter. Then I usually like to highlight that. Then I come way over here on the right-hand side where the text style panel is, and open that. I'll get rid of this because we don't need that. All right, I'll move it over here. Now I remember I did get Christmas dingbats, and you can make any kind of dingbat you want. This doesn't have to be Christmas, it could be anything. Like, what are these? Art icons and tools. That could be interesting. Okay, there's a little artist. But now once I've clicked on that and done one, as you know, the beauty of using this, or one of the many beauties of using this software, is we can just come right up here to the G for glyphs, click on that, and we can see all of the glyphs that are available without having to go to another software or anything like that. So there are the ones for the artist. Oops, I keep clicking over the wrong thing. There we go. So, you know, I don't really want to do an artist one, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to go back to my text, and I'll find my Christmas ones. Maybe this is it. Ooh, look at these bears. I might want to do bears. Let me look and see what kind of bears there are first. I'm just scrolling through here slowly. That's a cute little bear. Oh, he's a cute little bear too. I would use him, except for there's not that much coloring that I could do on him because he's already black. Wonder if there's one. It's okay. Oh, look. That's cute. Well, I'm wasting time here. Hold on just one sec. Let me look and see what I see right quick. Another second. You could be looking through yours, I guess. So if you see something that you want to use for yours.
Carmen says she's scared of bears. Me too.
Scared of bears? Yeah, I told you we had one on our deck a couple weeks ago. There's a guy that's, but Carmen, you probably have grizzly bears out there, right? We got black bears that aren't quite as bad, I hear. Yeah. All right. So I have gotten this little bear. He's okay. And actually, I could use him with the Christmas things too, because he's kind of cute. Hey, you know what? I could use bears and say, you are very special. Oh, that's all right. So I accidentally put 2 of them here. So what I would do is right click and say ungroup, and I can get rid of one of these by deleting on my keyboard. And then I can just bring him up here, resize him, and put him up here anywhere. And actually, you know what I could do with him is I could just put a bunch of him on here instead of putting a bunch of other things. I don't think there was.
Pat said, what's the name of the font you're working with? The bear
It's just
font.
called Bear Icons. Can you see that right there? It says Bear Icons. Wait, let's see what it says here. Oh, I don't know. Hold on. Recently used. I guess it's just Bear Icons. When it's in here, it doesn't really say the name of it, but up here it says Bear Icons. Probably, I don't know, might have gotten it from defont.com, but there's another place that has a whole bunch of icons. And we'll probably be able to figure that out either by the end of today's class, or I'll email it to you guys.
Carmen says she does love poo.
Oh, see? Okay, so anyways, I just make a bunch of these bears, so I can just click on him to highlight him, and then just hit Control D on my keyboard, as in duplicate, and I can just make a bunch of them if I want to. And then I can just resize him. Okay, sometimes this would be a good time to lock that darn background, because when you're trying to just move around what you want to do, sometimes it's handy to lock the layer that's the background so that you don't keep moving the background like I'm doing here. So, could lock it. Mirror.
Yeah, Nancy said Dingbat Depot is the name of it.
Thank you, Nancy. Yeah, Dingbat Depot. I'd forgotten. I bet Nancy had that all listed. Her computer is so well organized. I'm getting better because I followed kind of some of her tips. How she finds those things so easily, quickly. I'll move him up here. Anyway, I can just move these around-ish. And then when I have a couple of them on here, and I'll just, you know what I might do though? I might put a few hearts in here as well, because I think that would be pretty. I'm going to try to quit moving that. Okay, get a couple of hearts here. And maybe just stick a couple of hearts in here. Okay, so that's that. So what I would do now is just group both of these together, all that together, and I would just hold down my Alt key and make another one, because I want one for each side of that box. So that's that. So far what we have is this piece here that measures 8.5 by 5.5. We have this little piece here that matches the same color that is 1.5 by 2. And then we have 2 of these pieces that are it's supposed to be 1.75. I'm going to delete this one too. I'm going to make this one the right size, 1.75, and hit enter, and 3.25, so that's still okay. So now I'm going to duplicate this one, Alt, drag one over. So I needed 2 of those. Okay, the last thing that we need as far as our papers go is one piece that's 1.25 by 1.75. So I'll change this to 1.25 and hit enter, and 1.75. Enter. Okay, and that one is also going to be white. And on that one is where we would write our text, because what's going to happen is this piece is going to go on top of here somehow, however you like it. If you want it this way, bring to the front. There we go. Let's see how it's going to cover some of our bears. And you can actually make it smaller. You don't have to make it this size. And then this piece, I need to also rotate it. And it's going to go on top, bring it to the front. So I right click and bring to the front, put it like that. And onto this one is where my text is going to be. So maybe I just want to type in here, you are very special. So I'm going to rotate that back around. Now remember, if you hold your shift key down, it's going to lock right into the horizontal or vertical, whatever you want it to be. It's not going to get cockeyed. Just remember to let go of your mouse key first and then your shift key if you want it to stay where you want it. So if I typed in you, no, I'm good. You are very special. I keep putting capital letters. Okay, so obviously I'll need to make this a lot smaller to fit on here. And I might like to, let's see, where smaller. And I might like to come up here, way up here to the align area. And I'll align that center like that. And then I can take this text and I can stretch it out if I'd like to, a little bit like that. And I could change the font if I want to, but if this was for a little kid, I might leave it like this anyway. And then I would just change the color of that to whatever I want, pink. And then that could go right on top, group this together of here. And I'd probably make it like that a little bit because I think it looks cuter. All right, but the other thing is right now, if I was really making this, I might decide I want to do that. I'll take these two pieces together and make them a little bit smaller because I thought they were a little large, put them on there like that. And I like that better. And I might like it so his little face doesn't get totally covered. This is the guy we're actually working on today. So here's the thing. We have this right now. And according to May's directions, we're going to have to make about, let's see, how many are there? Maybe 5 score lines on this. And this is the best way that I figured out to do it. There may be another way. And held down my shift key and twirled my box around so it was like this. So if you're following along, do that. Hold down your shift key, twirl your box around so that it's perfectly like this. Because what we're going to do is we're going to score starting at the 5.5 part side first, straight down. And we're going to score it at the 2-inch mark. So you're going to come over here and get a line to the line tools. Just get the line. I'm going to come over here and I'm actually going to start above the box, hold down my shift key and just draw a line. And the reason, oops, I didn't need to make it that far below the box, though. Like that. All right. And the reason why I like to start it above the box is it's so much easier for me to grab this line when I need to if it's above the box. It's harder to grab it when it's in here. To me, it's easier just to grab that line, hold down my shift key, and grab the box. So that's what I wanted to do. Grab both of those things. Hold down the line, or hold down my shift key and grab the box as well. Then I'm going to come up here to this align area, and I'm going to align those things left. Just like that. All right, now I need to remember to click off first, and that's what I forget to do a lot of times. So you're going to click off of this thing because all you want to select now is the line, and this is when I really find it easy to have this line sticking up like this. So I click on the line, and then I come over here. Let's get rid of these. Since I pulled these out from this panel area, they stay open. If I'd left them here, every time I open a new panel, these would close. Anyway, I'm going to come over now. I've got that line selected. That's going to be a score line. I've got it selected. No, actually, that one's going to be a cut line. I have that one selected. I'm going to come over here to the transform panel. And we're going to use this button, the 4th one over, the move button. Because we're going to move that thing that we have selected. And the distance, right here says the distance, we're going to move it. We're going to move it according to May's directions. We're going to move this piece over 2 inches. So the distance I want to move it is 2 inches. And I can say apply, but nothing happens. The reason nothing happens is because I didn't tell it which way I wanted it to be moved. So I want it to move to the right. So now when I say move right, perfect, it moved over 2 inches to the right. And you may be looking up here saying, it doesn't look like 2 inches. But if I was to grab both of these and line this way up over here, and we kind of look at where that line is, you can see that it definitely is at the 2-inch mark there. I'll put it over here again. Okay, now this line is going to be, let me double check. Oh, that is going to be a score line. So I followed in Nancy's footsteps, and I think she says that every time she does a score line, she likes to make them green. So I've gotten into the habit, if it's a score line, I'm going to make it green. Okay, so there's my first score line. That's all we have to do on the 5.5 side. So I'm going to go ahead and group these together. And now I'm going to hold down my shift key and rotate this back. All right, y'all, I'm going to start this right more again. So we started out, we had a box. We made the box 8.5, and we made it 5.5 tall. Okay, and then we changed its color so it was lighter so we could see more clearly. And I'll change it to a light yellow like that. And then the first thing that I did was I came over here and got the line tool. And well, no, what I did first of all was I wanted to make it the opposite way, like this, because I like it like this. This is how my brain works. I like it like that. So then what I did was I came over here and got a line, drew a line, held down my shift key. And then I'm going to, while that's selected, hold down my shift key, get the box, and align those to the left. So I'm just refreshing my memory of what we did. And then what we did was we grabbed this little piece right here, boop, and we went over to the transform panel, which is this one. And this is it open. Then I chose the move tool. And I said to move it 2 inches. I said apply, nothing happens until I tell it which way to go. And that's it, just like that. And then all I did was I changed this one to green because it's going to be a score tool. So you come up here to change the color of the line. This is the color. This is the line tool. There we go. So there's that. Then I'm going to go ahead and move this like this, holding down my shift key and going back like this. Then I'm going to start doing my ones from this side. So I'm going to score it at 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to get the line and draw the line, holding down my shift key to there. And with that selected, hold down my shift key, get the box, and move this over to the left. There we go. And then what I want to do is move that one over to the 2-inch mark. So the 2 has already been selected in the transform panel. So I can just tell it to go to, whoopsie, you know what happened there? I told you this is what I do a lot. I forgot to deselect everything. All I want selected is the line. And so now I'm going to move just the line over to the right like that, okay? And that line is going to be a score line as well, but I can change those in a bit. I'm going to grab this one. And actually, I'm going to make it a little bit taller so it can stick out a little bit more for me. And I'm just going to hit Control D to duplicate it, and I'll do it a few more times. And so this one right here, I'm going to select this guy, hold down my shift key, get the rectangle, and I'm going to come up here and move it to the left, unselect everything, just select this one, and I'm going to move it to the 4-inch mark. Okay, so I have the transform panel over. I'm going to move it to the 4-inch mark to the right. All right, so now I think I'll just color this one green so I can remember I've already done that one, green. And this one is green as well because green means score. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to click on this line. Now see how it's hard to click on these to me, and I don't like to have mine transparent so much because it's just boggles my mind. So I like to leave a little tatty bit of it sticking up here, and it's easy for me then to click that line, hold down my shift key and click the box. And again, I could come over here and align them to the left. Then I'll just click off and click on. So far we've done 2, 4, and now we have to move this one over to the 6-inch mark. So I change this transform move tool to 6 and hit enter. And I would move it over to the right. So there we go. And I could now change that one to green as well, like that. And I actually have an extra one that I don't need. So I'll delete that one. Now I'm going to click on this guy, hold down my shift key, get the box. Now this might seem like a lot of work to you guys, especially if you like to use your score tool or whatever. But once you have this done, it's done. So if you need to make 20 of these boxes, you can just, knock them out like that because it's ready to go. Cut, 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 score, score, score automatically with your machine. So anyway, so now I would again come over here, make it go to the left, unclick everything, just click on this line. I'm going to move it with the transform panel, and this time I'm going to move it to 8. And I'm going to move it to the right, just like that. Change its color to green. Highlight it, change its color to green. Okay, so these are all score lines. The thing is, though, we still need some cut lines down at the bottom. So Nancy's saying I could cut them all at once to the left. Oh, I could do that. I just wanted to do them like this, the long way, like I said, so everybody could see exactly what's happening. But you're right. You could put them all over there at once and move them. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the line tool again, and I'm just going to come here. Actually, what I can do is this, and hold down my shift key and drag a line down like this. And I can just zoom in if I want to make sure that they're at the same exact spot, which that was pretty perfect if you ask me. So I will just go ahead and change this one. And I could do this again, moving them over 2, 4, 6, 8, which I'll show you. But this is going to be a cut, so I'm going to make it red. So now what I can do is grab this, and I could actually just go ahead and duplicate it with Control D because I want another one. And now I could grab that one, hold down my shift key, get the box. And once again, we're going through the same process, or you could just move it over there actually and align them. But just to practice this process of the moving, we'll align them to the left, click off, click on this red one. Remember, I made it a little bit longer down here, so it's easy to click for me. Click that, go to the move tool, and I'm going to name this one 2. This is 2. So now I have to do 4. I'm going to move it to the right. Perfect. Now I'm going to duplicate this one, or like I said, I could just Alt and drag this guy over and just line them up like that. All right. Alt, move it over and like that. But again, if you're wanting to practice using the move tool, just go ahead and click with this one clicked. Oops, I got to click on it. Oh dear, hit the V. Hold down my shift key, grab the box, align them left. Now all I want to do is move this final red cut line way over here to the 8-inch mark. Okay, 2, 4, 6. Uh-oh, did I do this right? 8. And move it. Okay, let's look. Okay, so here's what we have so far, right? So the greens, all of the green lines are going to be score lines. I will need to move these down so they're not going over that line. So if you can see what I'm doing, I could have been more careful when I started, but see how that red line's going up over the green? We don't want that to happen because that red line means it's going to cut right there. So I'm moving that cut line down. And with my arrow key, and it looks like I can move it over just a tiny bit if I want it to line up perfectly. And again, I can do the same thing with this red line. So I move it down. And this is a little bit of a long way, like I said, but it just kind of lets you helps you understand, whoops, what's going on. So there we go. So let's scroll back out. All right. So again, all of the green ones are score lines. The red ones are cut lines. So, but there's something else that we need to do. And May said to make a cut line right here diagonally and right here diagonally. So I'm going to go ahead and make not a cut line like that. I just want to put another line in here. So I came up here again to the line tool, and I'm just going to go, all she did was went from this corner where these two meet and just made a line like that, just a little line. And that's going to be a cut line. So you need to make that, whoopsie, this line right here red. So what's going to happen is I always do the score first. So it's going to score all of these green lines, including this part right here. But then when my cut part comes through, it's going to go ahead and cut this off and this off. So it doesn't matter that that score line is there at all. So you have that cut line, and the last cut line you have to make is one here. And it just went from this corner like that. It doesn't really matter if it's, exactly how it goes, but I made it a cut line just like that. All right, so we're pretty much done with this now. So let's just look and see what this is going to cut like in Cameo. And now in Cricut, if you send it over to Cricut, what you're going to get, I'd send it as an SVG, you're going to get an image that has like the green and the red lines on it at first when you first see it. But then when you bring it into Cricut, you will need to ungroup it and change the green lines, you know which ones are the green lines, to score, and the red lines to cut. And if you're not sure how to do that, let me know at the end and I can show that. But in Cameo, all you do is go to send. And now look, they all come in as red lines. So that's not what we want, because it came in as the simple right here, up here in the upper right-hand corner. We want to do it by line color. So I'm going to click on that. And now look, I need to do one more thing. I need to make this whole outer part of this have red. Okay, let me show you. I came here and I have lines, and I actually could leave it like that, but I like the cut lines to be red. So I'll just go back to this, click on the outer edge of this, and just make it red. And now if I go to send it, and like I said, that wasn't absolutely necessary, but I just like it like that to be organized. So now what I'm going to do is uncheck all of these. And the first thing I'm going to do, like I told you, is the score lines. So if you'll recall, the score lines were the green ones. So I'm going to change the score lines. I'm still using a plain cardstock, and I actually already have it on my mat over there, so I can cut this for you guys. But instead of using auto cut here, I'm going to change this to score. And I'm going to have it do that first. And then just so I can make sure everything's working properly, I'm going to right click on this one, and I'm going to say to add a pause. So it's going to do the score lines, and then it's going to pause until I tell it to resume, and then it's going to do the red cut lines. And for this one, I want to change this to that. I basically changed mine to 7, which is, I guess, what you guys would call it, the middle number right here. So it's going to be auto cut. So it's going to score, and then it's going to cut. So I've got my machine, my Cameo already set up over here. So let's see, make sure I'm not messing up because of nervousness from being here. Score, card.plane, auto cut. Okay, I'm going to send it. Gosh. So right now it's scoring. And I'm holding down my paper because I have this lousy mat. It's so old. I really need to quit. Okay, so that was the last score line right there. And now it's pausing in between. So now all I have to do is come down here and say resume, because it may be pausing because I need to change a blade or something like that. But I just wanted it to pause for a sec, and I'm going to go ahead and do this, resume. Okay, you guys know I had a little bit of an issue during our live doing this because my mat wasn't sticky enough. So I did do another one. just so I could show you how this is done. Now there are score lines, as you know, that scored perfectly. And then there are these cut lines that cut just about perfectly. Okay, just like that. A little bit of a glitch right here. I'll fix that. Okay. And then this is the part I was supposed to cut off, as well as that corner there. And that's another score line. Score lines worked really well. So the first thing that I was supposed to do was to just go ahead and tape this together, or you could use the liquid tape. And sometimes maybe the liquid tape would be better for this area right here, depending on how strong this is, your tape. So I would just tape that together like that, and it would just look like this. And then the next thing I would do is just put these pieces down like this and put tape on this last one to hold it in place. Just like this. And as usual, I love my ATG gun. Do you guys have them? Do you like them? I love mine. I think there's one other spot I probably should have taped. Maybe right here. I'll put some tape on this guy too a little bit to hold it in place. I'll just put this down and this one down. Then maybe stick something inside just to add a little pressure to make that stay down. There it is. All right, then the next thing that I had to do was I just figured out what I wanted to be the front. And I just squished this like this. So that could be the front. And then actually what I would do now is I would take, and I started coloring on one of these. I'll show you what I like to do for coloring. I just use these Prismacolor markers. These are the ones that I use, the watercolor ones. I also have the regular ones, regular colored pencils that are Prismacolor, although I hear Crayola work just as well. And then there's something called Gamsol that you can use on regular colored pencils to make them kind of look like watercolor ones. I'll just show you real fast so what the watercolor ones do. So if I was to start coloring this with this pencil, which is the watercolor one, and then I can either take a brush, a regular brush, you know, regular paintbrush like this, get it wet, and then just paint like this if I like to use regular watercolor. Or there's another kind of a brush that holds the water in a tube. Not sure where I put mine right off the bat. And then there's this little guy here too that has this little thing. See, I'm gonna move it over a little bit more. And what this does, it's a blender tool, a colorless blender. So it just allows you to blend different colors together and allows you to get a little bit of shading if you like. And then you don't see all the lines of what you did with your colored pencil. And as I said, this one is the watercolor pencil. So I might like to do that color there, and I have another green out. I can use this green one right here. And just, you know, put some of this over there and then just use my colorless blender. I could wipe it off first, but I don't think it'll matter if these two colors blend a little bit. And just do like this. So then I would just finish coloring this. That, and it's so pretty. And then the next thing I would do, and see, this is a Prismacolor blender. Then I would just adhere this to my box like that, and then put my sentiment across. And then of course I might do my sentiment with this pop dotted up like that. And that's all I need to do. Then I would just take this like this, put holes here and put a ribbon, and it would be good to go like that. And actually I could have made that hole, couldn't I, with my machine? Didn't even need to do it with a whole bunch. But anyway, then I went ahead. This cardstock's heavy. This is that Cricut stuff. Can you hear it? This is heavy stuff. This other stuff, this stuff that I used was a print then cut. So this was just my lighter cardstock that I use for everything. And I wanted it to be red, but it didn't really turn out really red. but I actually printed this color. I printed all of this. This was all print and cut, other than I colored the little snowman. I thought the bells were cute though. And let's see, this one is also the Cricut cardstock that's heavier. You can tell it's heavy. So this one's really sturdy. This one's sturdy though too. I mean, it's not a problem. They're both cute. So, all right. Well, I'm sorry about that last mess up. Tammy, I want to show you guys something. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna watch over here for a sec, you guys. Can you see? No, you probably can't tell that my cardstock's just coming right off. No, you can't see it. My cardstock's just rolling right off my mat here. It was just loosey. Look, it's not even attached anymore. You can see it a little bit. Just loosey-goosey. I think I need to give that one the heave-ho, that mat. I guess it's, or certainly use the tape like I usually use and didn't this time. As this mat's, and look at the glitter on it, so it's seen its better day. Anyway, have I tried washing it? No, I've not tried washing it. Do you use just dishwashing soap? I tried the baby diaper wipes because that's what we always used on our scan and cut machine mats back in the day. But I haven't tried actually washing the mat.
Yeah, and then you can spray after you wash it. You can spray some of that repositioning spray.
Yeah, but the only thing I'm worried about that is what if it gets where my rollers go? I don't want my rollers to get sticky from that stuff.
Well, I usually let mine dry overnight, and then you've got whatever you're cutting. I tape up the sides.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And then whatever you're cutting is going to cover the mat, so it's not going to get them. But I tape the sides before I spray. I don't do that very often because I just rather buy new ones.
I have a new one or two. I just get so cheap. But then, like I've always told you guys, sometimes trying to be frugal, you waste more than you would have if you just bit the bullet and used the new thing. Because look,
Stephanie uses stencil glue on hers, and she tapes the sides.
Okay, because this thing's just a waste now because it didn't cut right. Well, I mean, it cut okay, but not like it should have because it was rolling around on my mat. Anyway, and just rub over it with my hands, no scrubber or anything. Okay. See, I've always been told, like when I used the scan and cut before, we were always told that these baby wipes that have no alcohol in them were supposed to be good to clean your mat with. And I probably would get a bunch of junk off this one. Of course, you're going to see my table wiggle like crazy. Yeah, look, see, I don't know, can you see? Look. Yeah, there's all kind of glitter coming up and some fuzz. I don't know what the fuzz is from. Anyway, that's what I should have done. So does anybody have any questions about using the move tool? And it really is handy to use. I'm sure a lot of times you find cards online and they're telling you how to do it manually. And if you just, oh, look at all that. See, I should have cleaned it first. This is helping a lot. Anyway, if you find a card and they tell you how to score it manually, if you just use the move tool like that, you can really just make yourself a template and just create cards like crazy with the same template. Yeah, I think it will be very helpful using the move tool. Good, Betsy. Let's see. So Nancy, now tell them what you were using yours for or the move tool for, if you don't mind.
I am making some fill patterns, and when I make the fill pattern, I want to test that when I, put it into the library so I can bring it in as a fill pattern, that it will repeat without showing any seam lines or, that you could see where the repeat is. And so just to test, I'll take that piece that I am making as my little tile, and I will make a copy of it and, get them lined up on top of each other and then move it over just one tile size and just verify that I have everything lined up correctly so that so that it will look good when it repeats.
So do you also put one then down below it?
Yes, yeah, I do both to the side and down below, and just
Okay.
verify that, yep, that looks right, that, I don't, I didn't cut it in the wrong spot and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I can also do it to like place my elements if I want to say, if I'm making polka dots or whatever, and I'm going to make this polka dot, 3/4 of an inch. Actually I'm using snap to grid, but you don't like snap to grid. But this would work just the same idea, that I could just say, put them on top of each other and then move it over 3/4 of an inch.
Because I didn't understand how snap to grid would work in this instance. How does that work?
Well, you'd count. You just.
Oh yeah, see that's the part.
2 inches and you drop your line down.
Right, that's the part that drives me nuts because my glasses aren't that good. So that's
Okay.
why the counting those little lines is hard for me.
Yeah. So.
Look,
Yeah.
you guys, look at all that. Do you think my mat needed cleaned? Jeez, disgusting.
Do you know about? I don't know if everybody knows about this one. I just learned this and I didn't know about it. That there's I'll have to look what it's called. When you copy something and then you want to paste it.
Yeah.
If just a second, let me just see what it's called. So if I say copy, and then there's a thing that just says paste in front. And paste in front is going to align it perfectly with the thing you just copied it from.
I didn't know we had that available on the Silhouette software at all. So wait, let me get back. Let me go to my.
When I was making my copies of my tiles, I would just make a copy and then I would say paste in front, and then I wouldn't have to do the whole align thing first because they'd be perfectly aligned, and then I could just move the one.
Okay, so you do copy by right-clicking? Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
I never even noticed it before. So copy. Whoa, wait a minute. Copy. Why is it not copying?
You copied it, but you
It
haven't
is.
pasted it yet.
You just gotta paste it.
Oh,
You're not
Lord
gonna
have mercy.
copy.
Heavens, Betsy. All right, paste. Oh, paste in front. Okay, so now there should be 2 of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
there is.
All right, so
Then
right click, copy, right click, paste in, whoopsie, right click, paste in front. So it should be pasted in front of that. Well, I never really noticed that or used it. You're right, perfect. That is a nice little feature. Let's see, what else we got? That's it. That's a cool little thing. I've never really used that. Let's see, let me go back to my chat. Anybody seeing anything? Yeah, it is good to know, isn't it, Stephanie?
That's the way I understood it, that just paste in front of whatever you copied,
Okay.
and then you'll have 2 perfectly aligned copies. So you don't, when you're going to then use this move by tool, they're already aligned. You don't have to do an alignment before you move it.
So in other words, if we have the rectangle and I'm going to make a score line
Let me see.
and pretend like and I go, whoopsie, copy, paste in front. Can I do?
And now that was actually selected. You don't even have to select anything because that top one is now selected.
Okay, but how, I wonder how can I make like 5 of them pasted in front? Can I go
I think you could, but what you can do is just say move it 2 inches, and then you can copy the next one, paste in front, and say move 2 inches, and so you can just
okay.
bing, 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 bing right down the row.
Right. Sometimes they do but sometimes the part that drives me nuts is you say like this first one is supposed to be at 1/4 of an inch score, and then this one is supposed to be 2 3/8 or something. It's like, I can't count that over there. So that's why.
That's where if you placed your, say, your 1/4 inch, and then if you duplicated right on top of this one,
Mm-hmm.
or right on, you can't see my pointer. Never mind, I was pointing to my screen. But if you paste right on top of it, and then you just know it has to go 2 inches over, you can use the move by and say,
Yes, which I like.
you
Yeah.
don't have to add in that 1/4 inch or whatever.
Right. Okay, I see what you're
If you
saying.
just know that they're 2 inches apart, each of them.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Yeah, I thought the little box turned out pretty cute, you know, and like I said, you may not want to do it. You might not be into making cards or little boxes, but just to learn how to use that little tool, the Move By tool, just to start learning how to use it. As Nancy says, there's many applications for it, and I'm just starting to learn it. That's why I did it the slow way, so I could see exactly what I was doing when I was moving them. So the first thing, it doesn't matter where your rectangle is, just take your score line, hold down your shift key, grab your box, and align those. This is how I had to do it the slow way. Align them both to the left. And then remember, right now you got them both selected. If you hit the transform and you say to move it over 2 inches, both those things are going to move 2 inches because you have them both selected. See that? So you want to make sure that you remember, if they do that, to deselect it, and you just want the one you want to move, and then you can move it over to the right 2 inches. And like I said, for me, Nancy, it's easy to leave a little tab up there for me to move it. I know you like to make it transparent, but for some reason, when I make these things transparent, my brain has a hard time with all these little lines and stuff. So for me, it's easier if I make this box a lighter color so I can still see a little bit what I'm doing, like that.
I'll do a lot of my work not on the mat. If those lines bother me, I'll just move them over.
Oh yeah, that's true too, right? And you can change the way this mat looks too. If you guys know this with this reveal thing over here, look, you can actually move the way or change the way the mat looks. So those lines shouldn't bother me too much. I should just do this and then I'd be fine. So I could just bring this thing over and have it transparent. And then if I want to move this guy 2 inches over from where he is, just come over here and get to this panel right here, the transform, and say move. If I want to move it, 1.25 inches away from where it is, hit enter, but nothing happens, remember, until you actually tell it which way you want it to go. I want it to go that way. Oh wait, no I don't. I want it to go that way. Oh wait, I want it to go up. So you can move it whatever way you want it to go. So pretty cool. I'm glad you told us about that tool, because Nancy, in the past I've really had a hard time because I like to look at a lot of people's designs that they make, and this is just a perfect way for me to be able to put the score lines in that I need. Oh, and for those of you, anybody in Cricut, do you understand how you would use this in Cricut? At least how I think you use it. Say this one was a score line, and this is a cut line, and I have them like that. And I'll make the outside be a cut also, just because. I think this, do I need to make them thicker, Nancy? I don't recall now all of a sudden. I think I might. I think I gotta make them like 1 or something like that so that they actually show up. Otherwise they'll be over there invisible. And I do remember that's what happens.
No, I don't think so. I never change my width.
Oh, really? Because I thought I tried this last week and it didn't work. So let me try it. I'll go File, Save Selection to hard drive, and I'll just do box test. And I'll change it to a SVG. Maybe it was when I was changing them to JPEGs that I had to change it. Maybe they didn't show up.
That could be.
Can't recall for sure.
Because
if they show up here.
Cricut doesn't honor the line width anyhow.
Right, though that's true. So, but if I did it as a JPEG, oops, not
then
that.
Then the lines might not show up at all. You're right.
They did not. That's what I remember trying to do.
Because like when you try to print, those lines won't be there.
Right.
So I think the JPEG would be just like when you're trying to print.
Okay, so here's the box test. So, okay, comes in okay. So it comes in like this, and I'm not sure why it came in red. But what I would do is just ungroup all of this. And I'm gonna hide that red thing. Oh, that's my, because of the line. All right, so what you'd have to do is ungroup. Now, if I click on this line right here, notice what color it shows up right here, red. So we know that's a cut line, even though it just comes in as black. Let me make this bigger for you. But if I click on this one, look what color it comes in as, green. And if you get in the habit of doing your score lines as green and your cut lines as red, then I'll know, oh, this is a green. It's supposed to be a score line. So I can just change it to score like that. And then, of course, I'd have to attach that score line. If I insert this first one that I had done, again, here we go. It doesn't look like whatever we made over there in design or in Silhouette. But if we ungroup all of this and I click on each one of these lines individually, okay, that one's a green. So what do we know about that one? What's it got to be? A score. This one, what color is this one? Oh, green too. It's got to be a score line. So I guess that's it. If anybody has any other questions, let me know. If anybody makes any of these cute little boxes, put a picture on our Facebook group page if you'd like, or even on our other group page. You can say, hey, look what we learned to make in Silhouette today, especially the cutting up with Patty Ann one, because some of those people are on the fence and they still think, oh, I don't want to get that from my machine. I don't need it. I can do everything I want in Design Space. But a lot of this is a lot easier, I think, to design anyway in Silhouette. So you're welcome, Barbara. You have a great rest of the day too. Thanks, Betsy. Thank you all for coming. Bye, Carmen. Thank you. Bye, Chow. You're welcome. Bye, Pat. Okay, guess that's it. Thanks, Roxana.